Hey everyone, welcome to AFK Asleep, a quiet corner of the internet where we step away from glowing screens, restless thoughts, and the noise of the day to wander instead through the worlds we have loved, but rarely slowed down to feel. Before we begin, take a second to get comfortable. You might want to dim the lights, maybe turn on a small fan for that soft, steady background hum. And if you have not yet, hit subscribe, but only if you truly enjoy these calm journeys through the worlds you love. And one more thing, let me know in the comments, where are you tuning in from tonight and what time is it there? I find it incredible to see how these stories find their way to so many different corners of the world. You might be listening from a small apartment where the city hums outside your window, or a quiet bedroom where the night has already wrapped the world in silence. Wherever you are, and whatever time it is, this moment is yours. So take a slow breath in and let it go. Let your shoulders drop just a little. Let your jaw unclench. Let your thoughts soften around the edges. There is nowhere else you need to be right now. And as a little thought before we begin, which Pokémon do you think we will meet first? Tonight, we are traveling somewhere green, quiet, and alive. A place that breathes with the rhythm of 1,000 tiny wings, where the path twists and narrows until it becomes a whisper among the trees. Tonight, we wander into the Viridian Forest. You might remember it from your first journey, that stretch of woods between cities filled with tall grass, gentle trainers, and the first sparks of wonder. But this time, we are not here to battle or to hurry. We are here to listen. The forest begins softly, sunlight dripping through loose branches, the air warm and kind. The path ahead looks simple enough, framed by soft patches of grass that sway like sleepy waves. But step further in, and the light begins to scatter, dimming as the canopy thickens overhead. Here the trees have stood for centuries, their roots locked in quiet conversation beneath the soil. Moss clings to bark in velvety blankets. The earth smells rich and damp, carrying hints of sap and distant rain. There is a stillness here that feels older than time, as if the forest itself remembers every footstep that ever crossed its path. Somewhere, a Caterpie curls around a leaf bigger than its body, its tiny feet gripping smooth veins with delicate care. It moves slowly, patient as the turning of a page. High above, a Pidgey shakes droplets of dew from its feathers, the air humming softly with its wings. You take another step, and the sound of the outside world fades entirely. No engines, no chatter, no screens, just the rustle of leaves and your own calm breathing. It is easy to see why so many wanderers once got lost here, not because the path is confusing, but because the forest invites you to forget where you were going. Somewhere deeper, a thread of silver light pierces the canopy, falling like a gentle spotlight onto the path. Dust motes drift through it, slow, golden, unhurried. You reach out a hand, and the light touches your fingertips with quiet warmth before fading back into the shade. A sign stands by the entrance, half covered in moss. The words are nearly gone, but you can just make out a few. Stay on the path. Beware of poison. And faintly below, written by someone long ago in pencil, "Good luck, traveler." It makes you smile, not because you need luck, but because it feels like a greeting from another dreamer who once stood where you are now. The deeper you go, the more the forest seems to close in around you until the world feels like a soft cocoon of sound and scent and breath. The temperature drops just slightly, a tender coolness brushing your skin. It feels safe as your eyes adjust. Shades of green reveal themselves, emerald moss, fern, and the faint glow of tiny spores floating through the dusk. Somewhere, hidden in the grass, something chirps, brief and bright. You pause, listen, and then with a slow exhale, you step forward again, deeper into the maze of trees where stories sleep and the air hums with unseen life. So before you close your eyes completely, take one more deep breath. Let the air of the forest fill your lungs, the scent of leaves, of rain-soaked bark, of earth breathing beneath your feet. Because tonight, we are not just passing through, we are coming home to the calm, the quiet, and the endless green heart of the Viridian Forest. Twilight comes gently to the Viridian Forest. It does not arrive in a single sweep, but drifts in the way mist gathers, the way thoughts soften just before sleep above. The last ribbons of daylight filter through the high canopy, turning the leaves to pale gold. Then, slowly, that gold deepens to green, then to a cool silver. Like moonlight before the moon, you feel it before you see it. The shift in the air, the way the forest exhales and the world begins to slow. You walk quietly, tracing the path that winds like a forgotten river through the trees. Every few steps, the ground dips and rises again, the roots beneath your shoes like ribs beneath skin. A single drop of water slides from a fern and lands on your wrist. It is cool, grounding, real, a reminder that this world, though quiet, is still awake. The air hums softly with hidden life, a faint chirp here, a rustle there, the delicate flutter of something small brushing against a leaf. This is not silence, not really. It is the language of the forest at rest. To your right, the shadows ripple as a cluster of ladybird gather beneath the wide leaves of a fallen branch. Their red shells gleam faintly, like fading embers under moonlight. They shift closer together, their movements slow, gentle, familiar. You remember what you have heard, that they do this to stay warm, to share the soft comfort of company. You pause for a moment to watch them. One ladybird turns its small, round face toward you, antenna twitching curiously. For a moment, the two of you share the same breath of twilight. Then it tucks itself closer to the group, vanishing into the fold of red and shadow. You continue walking. Each step releases a faint scent from the ground, damp leaves, moss, and something faintly sweet, like pollen caught in the air. Somewhere up ahead, the canopy parts just enough for a sliver of dusk to shine through. The faint beam catches on a metapod, hanging motionless from a low branch. Its shell glows with the soft sheen of stone polished by rain. You look closer, not because it moves, but because it does not. There is a calm in that stillness, a kind of patience that the world rarely asks for anymore. It waits without hurry, trusting that time itself will do the work. You walk on, wondering what it must feel like to rest that deeply. Not sleeping, not dreaming, but existing in quiet transformation. A faint crackle of wings catches your ear. Butterfree, perhaps, gliding somewhere above the canopy. Its wings scatter a fine dust that glimmers faintly before settling over the leaves. The forest takes it in without protest. Everything here seems designed to receive, to give back, to breathe in rhythm with itself. The path narrows, swallowed by tall grass that brushes against your knees. You can hear the soft friction of blades rubbing together, 1,000 whispers speaking in green. Hidden among them, a Caterpie inches along a stem, its small red antenna glinting like a drop of ruby. Its body moves in a steady rhythm, curl, stretch, rest. You remember that these tiny creatures eat leaves larger than their own bodies, driven by hunger and instinct. But right now, this one seems content, chewing slowly, dreamily, under the fading light. As you pass, a few faint threads of silk cling to your sleeve. You lift your arm and smile, the Caterpie's quiet trace, a soft signature left behind. The deeper you go, the cooler the air becomes. The sun has now slipped completely behind the trees, and a soft indigo tone settles across the world. Your breath forms the faintest mist before you, dissolving instantly into the damp air. In the distance, something glows faintly, not electric but natural, as if the forest itself has learned how to hold on to the last fragments of light. You move toward it. It is a patch of mushrooms, some small as pebbles, others wide as your hand. Their caps shimmer in muted hues of green and gold. You crouch to look closer and realize they are tiny mushrooms, the kind that trainers and collectors once traded for a few coins. Here, they look like stars that chose to fall into the soil instead of the sky. One shroomish nestles beside them, half buried beneath the leaf litter. Its small, round shape rises and falls with the rhythm of sleep. You remember reading once that it breathes through its skin, feeding on the compost of fallen leaves, and as you watch, the forest smells richer, almost sweet, as if even decay here feels alive, part of something growing. You rise, brushing off the moss from your knee, and continue deeper into the maze. The trees close tighter around you now. Their trunks are so wide that when you reach out, your hands cannot touch either side. Every few paces you pass the hollow of an old root, each one like a doorway into another layer of time. Inside one, a flicker of movement, a pair of tiny eyes reflecting what little light remains. It is a hoot-hoot. Round, feathered, still. It balances perfectly on one foot, eyes half-lidded, its expression unreadable. The faint, ticking motion of its head marks invisible time, a rhythm so precise it feels ancient. It blinks once, slowly, and then turns its head away, as though satisfied that you belong here, at least for now. You move on, careful not to disturb it. Every few steps, another small sound joins the twilight symphony, a leaf falling, a soft click of wings, the quiet pulse of the world winding down. Somewhere, a Pikachu shifts in its nest. You do not see it, but you sense it, the faint static in the air, that sharp, electric scent like rain waiting to fall. It is a comforting energy, not wild or startling, just alive. You think of how they sleep, charging slowly, dreaming of lightning that never harms, only hums. You walk until the path begins to fade, replaced by soft earth and patches of fern. Your steps are lighter now, as if the forest itself carries part of your weight. It occurs to you that this might be the true purpose of the Viridian Forest. not to challenge travelers, but to slow them, to teach them what it means to move with the world instead of through. Yet every creature here seems to live by that same lesson: the Caterpie that eats in peace, the metapod that waits, the ladybird that rests. Together, even the beedrill, though unseen, patrols somewhere deeper, not in anger, but in protection of their quiet home. A faint breeze stirs. It moves the canopy just enough for a few scattered stars to appear above, their reflections trembling in the dew gathered on the leaves. You pause and look up. The forest breathes, and so do you. Night has arrived now, quiet and complete. The last trace of daylight has slipped away, and the Viridian Forest glows from within. It begins softly, a shimmer beneath the moss, then another glint along a branch. Slowly, as your eyes adjust, you realize the light is everywhere. Faint green threads pulse through the roots underfoot. Tiny spores drift through the air like floating stars. The forest is breathing light. You stand still for a while to take it in. The cool air presses gently against your skin. Every sound is slower now. The wind moves in longer sighs. Even your heartbeat seems to match the forest's calm rhythm. When you move again, your footsteps are silent against the damp ground. The moss cushions every sound, and your presence feels accepted rather than noticed. Up ahead, something flickers between the trees. At first, you think it might be a reflection, but as you draw closer, you see a ring of oddish scattered across a small clearing. Their leaves shimmer faintly under the moonlight as they sway in the gentle night breeze. One of them turns, its small red eyes half closed in peace. The others remain still, their roots dug deep into the soil. They are drinking in the moonlight, drawing strength from the earth below and the light above. The forest nurtures them, and in return they keep its soil rich. You stay a while, watching the quiet dance of photosynthesis and rest, of stillness and life. Then, with care, you continue along the faint path that leads deeper into the trees. The glow of the oddish fades behind you, replaced by the soft hum of another rhythm. A group of spinarak hang from thin webs that span between the trunks. Their bodies glisten faintly in the dim light. Each thread is spun with precision, stretching across the branches like strands of silver thread. They do not move, but you sense their patience. Each web tells a story of waiting, of trusting that what is meant to come will come in its time. You imagine the forest as a vast organism, each creature a living cell, each sound part of one long breath. As you walk further, you notice small acorn shapes hanging from the higher branches. They sway gently, then one drops and rolls across the path before coming to rest beside your shoe. You crouch down and find that it is not an acorn at all, but a seedoll. It looks up at you perfectly still, as if testing whether you have noticed it. Its round eyes reflect the soft green glow around you. After a moment, it gives a small shake as though satisfied and hops toward a nearby tree. It clings to the trunk with surprising strength, attaching itself by the stem atop its head. There, it stays completely still once more, blending into the bark. The forest is filled with small moments like this, tiny exchanges between movement and stillness. A few steps later, you feel the brush of something soft against your shoulder. When you turn, you see a Butterfree drifting through the dark, its wings dusted with luminous scales. Each flap releases a faint trail of shimmering powder that hangs in the air before settling to the forest floor. You stay still and let it pass beside you. Its wings move slowly, without sound, as if gliding through a dream. When it rises into the higher branches, the glow of its powder lingers, settling over leaves like faint snow. For a long time, you walk without hurry. The world has grown very quiet now. No voices, no footsteps except your own. You can almost feel the heartbeat of the forest under your soles. The path leads you to a shallow hollow where the roots of several old trees intertwine. A small pool has formed there, catching what little moonlight breaks through the canopy. The water is still and mirrors the world above with perfect clarity. You kneel beside it, cupping your hands just above the surface. The reflection of your face shimmers slightly, joined by the faint glow of spores drifting nearby. Something ripples in the water, soft and circular. And then you see the reason. A bellsprout stands nearby, its stem bent gracefully toward the pool. It dips its bell-shaped head, drawing water through its roots. You can see them stretching gently into the soil, anchoring it to the earth. For a moment, the two of you exist in the same stillness. Its leaves tremble slightly and you almost imagine it breathing. You continue walking, the forest now feeling almost endless. Yet instead of feeling lost, you feel held. Every turn of the path seems to welcome you further inside. Above, a flicker of yellow light catches your attention. A Pikachu sits balanced on a thick branch, tail curled beside it, tiny sparks playing along its cheeks. The light it gives off is gentle, barely enough to see by, yet it fills the clearing with warmth. Its ears twitch, and for a moment it looks at you before returning to grooming its fur, calm and content. There is no fear in its eyes, only quiet curiosity. You think about how this creature carries electricity within its body, a living lantern powered by rest and dream. You wonder if it dreams of storms. Further ahead, the trees part slightly. The ground rises covered in soft moss and dotted with faintly glowing flowers. The petals close and open slowly, as though breathing. You step carefully among them until you reach a small clearing where the light of the stars finally touches the ground directly. Here, the air feels different, lighter. The forest around you seems to fade into a gentle hum. You look up and see the canopy framing the night sky like a cathedral window. Between the leaves, the stars shimmer faintly, mirrored by the glowing moss below. You lie down for a moment on the soft earth, letting your body sink into the moss. The scent of the forest is rich and grounding. You can feel the faint vibration of insects moving through the soil beneath you. Above, a soft breeze stirs the branches, causing light and shadow to dance across your face. You close your eyes, but the forest remains. You can hear every small sound, the quiet flutter of wings, the whisper of leaves, the distant rustle of something moving gently through the grass. It is not loneliness you feel, but belonging. The Viridian Forest is no longer just a place. It feels like an entire being, alive and ancient, and you are part of its heartbeat now. You stay there for a long time, until time itself seems to dissolve. When you finally rise, the forest greets you again with the same patience as before, unchanged by your passage. You move on, slow and calm, deeper still into the glowing night. Every few steps, your eyes catch the faint glint of dew or the sparkle of a hidden stone. A raspberry bush leans across the path, its small fruits bright and fragrant. You pick one, taste it, and the sweetness melts on your tongue. It is subtle, clean and pure, like the flavor of the air itself. The taste lingers as you keep walking. The stars above watching silently. The path ahead curves and you follow it without thought, trusting it to take you where you are meant to be. The forest does not ask you to hurry, it only asks you to stay a little longer. The air grows even cooler as you move further in. The forest canopy rises higher and the trees become enormous, their trunks covered in thick, living moss. Each one feels ancient, like it has seen countless seasons come and go. The deeper you walk, the softer everything becomes. The ground feels like carpet beneath your steps. The wind quiets. The sounds of the smaller Pokémon fade into the distance. You reach a point where the path seems to vanish entirely. In its place is a soft, glowing mist that hovers just above the ground. It moves slowly, rolling in gentle waves that shift and curl as though alive. You take a step into it and feel a cool brush of air around your ankles. It is neither frightening nor strange, just calm. The mist feels like the forest's own breath. You pause for a moment and listen. There are sounds here that exist below hearing. The faint hum of roots moving deep in the soil. The pulse of sap flowing up through trunks. The quiet echo of life continuing, unseen but constant. As you walk through the mist, a soft light glows ahead. The shape of it grows clearer the closer you move, until you realize you are entering a vast clearing. The trees form a perfect ring around it, their branches reaching upward like arms cradling the night sky. The ground within the circle is smooth and glistening with dew. In the center, there is a wide stump, old and hollowed by time. A single leaf stone rests upon it. Its surface catches the faint glow of the mushrooms nearby, shining with subtle green and gold hues. You step closer. The stone seems to hum very softly, as if holding the memory of every leaf that ever fell here. You can feel warmth radiating from it, though the air around you is cool. The forest has gathered its stillness here. Every sound fades except your own quiet breath. You feel as if you have reached the center of something sacred. Then movement catches your eye. From the shadows between two roots, a small Bulbasaur steps forward. Its eyes reflect the faint green light. The bulb on its back glows gently, pulsing with a slow rhythm that matches your heartbeat. It looks at you without fear, its expression calm and curious. You can see small vines shifting at its sides, curling and relaxing as if stretching after sleep. For a moment, you simply share the clearing together. The Bulbasaur tilts its head slightly, then walks to the base of the stump. It lowers its body beside the leaf stone and closes its eyes. The glow from its bulb brightens, then dims again, like a breathing light. You realize the forest is full of these quiet exchanges. Every living thing here moves with purpose, but without hurry. They grow, rest, and transform at their own pace. The Bulbasaur, the Caterpie, even the still Metapod. Each of them is a reflection of patience. You sit down on the edge of the clearing. The moss beneath you is cool and soft, and the air carries a faint sweetness. The longer you sit, the more you can feel your own breathing slow to match the forest. Every inhale feels deeper, every exhale lighter. In the distance, you hear a low hum, not a sound of machines or movement, but of life itself. The hum becomes a rhythm, steady and continuous, like a heartbeat spread across every living thing in this place. You think about how this forest has existed long before you, and how it will remain long after. You imagine the generations of trainers who once walked this same path, each hearing the same quiet songs, each seeing the same trails of light among the trees. You look up. The sky above the clearing is clear now. The clouds have drifted away, leaving only the stars. The canopy frames them perfectly. For a moment, it feels as if the universe itself is looking down through the forest, watching over it. Then, from the far edge of the clearing, a faint movement. You squint softly and see several beedrill flying in the distance, their stingers catching the moonlight like glass. They move slowly, circling the forest's edge. You do not feel afraid. Their presence feels deliberate, protective. They are not guarding against you, but simply maintaining balance. The forest accepts you as part of its rhythm now. You can sense it in the stillness, in the way the air presses gently around you. You stay like this for a while, watching the light shift across the clearing. Every so often, a leaf drifts from above and lands quietly beside you. Each one lands with such care, it feels intentional, as if the forest is tucking you in. A few moments later, you notice a metapod hanging from one of the great branches nearby. Its shell gleams in the faint light. You think about what it means to wait, to transform in silence, to trust the world to hold you while you rest. That thought settles deeply in you. You feel it in your chest, soft and grounding. The Bulbasaur beside the stump shifts slightly in its sleep. Its bulb pulses once more with soft light, and you can almost hear it breathing. A single Butterfree drifts across the clearing now, wings brushing the air like silk. It circles once above the stump, then rises through the opening in the trees, carrying faint traces of glowing powder into the night sky. The powder floats upward, catching the starlight. For a moment, the clearing looks like a place between two worlds, one of earth, one of sky. You close your eyes and breathe it in. The scent of moss and rain, the soft sweetness of berries on the air, the faint trace of electricity that still lingers from the distant Pikachu. Every element of the forest seems to move together now, each in harmony with the next. It is as if the world is teaching you the rhythm of rest, showing you that stillness can be its own form of life. You feel it then, not as an idea, but as a physical truth, that every living thing here is part of one breath. The forest exhales and you exhale with it. The forest inhales and you inhale too. When you open your eyes, the mist is beginning to settle again. The glow from the leaf stone has dimmed to a gentle glimmer. The clearing feels warmer now, almost like a heart still beating beneath the soil. You rise slowly and take one last look around. The Bulbasaur sleeps peacefully beside the stump. The beedrill have vanished back into the dark. The air feels perfectly balanced. The path forward is waiting again, clear and calm. You take a deep breath, feeling the weight of the night rest gently on your shoulders. You begin to walk once more, each step slow, each sound soft, until the clearing fades behind you and only the forest remains. The Viridian Forest seems endless, but in this moment you understand that it is not meant to be crossed. It is meant to be felt, to be remembered, to be dreamed. You walk on deeper into the calm. You keep walking, though there is no destination now. The forest around you feels endless but kind, as if it would hold you here forever if you let it. The ground slopes downward and you follow the curve. The deeper you go, the softer the light becomes. Ahead, you see a faint glow again, not green this time, but gold. It flickers gently between the trees, and as you draw closer, you see that it comes from a clearing unlike the others. The trees here bend inward, their branches meeting high above to form a sheltering dome. Fireflies drift through the air, blinking in slow rhythm. Their glow reflects against the surface of a small pond in the middle of the grove. The pond's surface is perfectly still. The reflection of the branches above looks like a second forest, suspended upside down. You kneel beside it, cupping a hand just above the water. The air feels cooler here, cleaner, and you notice your reflection soften with the rippling light. You decide to stay here for a while. The ground is covered in moss, so thick it feels like a blanket. You lie down, letting your back sink into it. The scent of damp earth rises softly around you. The forest's glow dims, becoming more like moonlight behind a cloud. Your body feels heavier now, but not from tiredness. It is a peaceful weight, the kind that anchors you when you have finally stopped moving. The kind that means you can rest. Across the pond, a small shape moves. You recognize it as a Pikachu, the same one perhaps you saw earlier in the branches. It pads slowly toward the water's edge and dips its paw in. A faint spark flickers across the surface, sending small ripples outward. The light spreads through the pond, just enough to catch the edges of leaves and illuminate the air with soft gold. Then the Pikachu curls up beside the water, its tail resting over its body, its breathing deep and steady. You watch it for a moment, and then your gaze drifts upward. The canopy above shifts slightly with the breeze. You can see fragments of the night sky through the openings, the stars bright and still. A gentle rhythm fills your ears, the sound of leaves brushing one another. A Caterpie inches slowly along a branch above you. Its pace is steady and calm. It pauses, rests, and then continues again. Watching it, you feel a small sense of understanding. Everything here moves with purpose, but never with haste. The forest's wisdom lies in its rhythm. Your own breathing falls into that same rhythm now. In, out, in, out. Somewhere in the distance, you hear the soft sound of wings. Perhaps another Butterfree gliding through the canopy, scattering its faint dust through the night. Each sound feels smaller, slower, more delicate, until they blend into one quiet harmony. You close your eyes. The ground beneath you feels alive, pulsing gently like the heartbeat of the forest itself. The air around you feels cool against your face. The weight of the day has melted away. A thought drifts through your mind, soft as the mist. Maybe this is what peace feels like. Not the absence of sound or motion, but a quiet belonging. A sense that everything is exactly as it should be. You open your eyes one last time. The pond reflects the stars. The fireflies still blink in lazy rhythm, and the Pikachu sleeps soundly by the water's edge. The forest has not changed, yet somehow it feels closer now. You take a final deep breath, letting it fill your chest completely before releasing it in one slow exhale. The forest exhales with you. For a while you just lie there, not thinking, not reaching for anything. You feel the night move gently over you like a blanket being tucked in by unseen hands. The moss beneath you warms slightly as if holding your shape. Every small sound fades. The distant rustle of wings, the slow drip of water, the whisper of the wind. They all fold into one continuous hum. Your body grows heavier still. Your eyes drift closed again. Not because you tell them to, but because the world around you is already asleep. In the quiet that follows, you imagine the forest breathing. You can almost hear it now. A deep inhale that gathers everything close. A slow exhale that lets it go, and in that breath you realize you are part of it. You do not know how long you have been lying there. When you open your eyes again, the stars have shifted slightly. The air feels cooler, the night deeper. The forest has settled fully into sleep. You turn your head and see the Pikachu still resting peacefully, its fur rising and falling with steady rhythm. Small beads of dew glisten on the leaves nearby. The forest floor sparkles faintly under the starlight. The world is utterly calm now. You feel as though you are floating, weightless in the dark. You think about the creatures you have met tonight. The Caterpie inching patiently across its leaf. The Metapod waiting without fear. The Butterfree drifting through its luminous dream. The Oddish standing in moonlight. The Bulbasaur resting by the leaf stone. Each of them lives without rush or doubt, simply trusting that tomorrow will bring what it must. The forest has taught you the same thing, to rest without guilt. To breathe without thinking, you let your eyes close once more. The sounds of the forest fade even further now, until they are nothing but a memory, a soft heartbeat in the distance. You can almost imagine that the trees themselves are watching over you, tall and patient. The stars above shimmer faintly like the forest's own reflection. The air feels cool against your face, but your body is warm and safe. The moss beneath you holds you gently, as if remembering every traveler who has ever stopped here to rest. This is where the journey pauses, not ends, just pauses. The forest will still be here tomorrow, breathing quietly, waiting for your return. You take one last deep breath, slower than before. The forest exhales and you drift away with it,